So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 17 of our F1 Manager save here on the channel. Now, if you didn't watch Tuesday's episode, go back and watch that in Singapore. It was a great Grand Prix, exciting at all times. Max Verstappen won it from Checo Perez. The Red Bulls were dominant, but we came from the back of the grid to secure a P7, beating George Russell in the Mercedes with Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly was very much in the wars. Both incidents probably not his fault. The other cars getting the penalties. But Pierre Gasly did finish 17th, but he did get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Standings-wise, it means that in the Constructors' standings, Red Bull are now running away with it with an over 100-point lead from Ferrari. We're looking pretty comfortable in P5. I don't think we're quite going to be able to catch Mercedes by the end of this season. Drivers' standings-wise, Max Verstappen is leading by 98 points from Checo Perez. It's the two Red Bulls in control, but that P2 is not secured for Checo Perez, as the Ferrari boys are definitely within touching distance. And don't count out Fernando Alonso, who's had a really strong last few races. Ocon is in P9 on 33 points from Pierre Gasly on 26. To bring you up to date on car part development, we've got two projects going on at the moment. One is the chassis and one is the rear wing. We're going intense on these so that the next upgrades that we bring in will be really significant for the car. We're going to bring in less upgrades but more spaced out upgrades now. So we're going to bring bigger upgrade packages rather than just putting a new front wing here and a side pod there. So we're going to try and make more significant upgrade batches rather than single ones to enhance performance. This weekend we go to Suzuka, 53 laps around here. Expected strategy is a two-stop. You can try the one-stop again, might be something to have a look at. Top speed and high speed cornering, very important around here. We're pretty good at the high speed stuff, so I am holding a little bit of hope for this. So I'm going to get through practice and I will see you in qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Suzuka is a notorious circuit both for its unpredictable weather and the difficulty of closely following other cars. Making the right call on when to head out to avoid traffic and dirty air can make all the difference here.
Now there's been a bit of talk about Sergio Perez of late. How's he going to be feeling, do you think?
They were looking pretty sharp in practice and setting good lap times, so they're probably feeling fairly confident now. But a good practice time doesn't always guarantee a strong qualifying outcome.
Buckle up then, folks. It's almost time for qualifying.
It's happened again. Pierre Gasly knocked out in Q2. P13, dodgy first lap, didn't improve on the second. Not reflective of the pace of our car this weekend. So disappointing for Gasly, just one car in Q3. This is it then, as the sun is setting in Japan. We are on our final flying lap with Esteban Ocon. He's green through the first and second sectors. He's had the measure on the Mercedes all weekend, Esteban Ocon. Russell and Hamilton not performing so well, but Alexander Albon is driving the wheels off the Williams at this moment in time. What can Esteban Ocon do here? Can he get in front of Alexander Albon? Let's have a little look. He does at the moment and goes provisionally ahead of Carlos Sainz. Let's just fast forward on. Albon doesn't improve enough. Russell goes into P5. Carlos Sainz only P8. So Esteban Ocon will start in P7. Charles Leclerc's got a grid penalty, but Max Verstappen is on pole, and we've got rain on Sunday. Let's have a look at the strategy. Right, guys, this is going to be one hell of an interesting Grand Prix and an interesting start because it's due to start raining 2 laps in. Now, I have toyed with the idea of starting Pierre Gasly on the intermediates, but I don't want him to lose too much time in them first couple of laps. So that's just something to bear in mind. So it's going to be flat out at the start. And if we have a little look at the track graph, we expect around end of lap 1 into 2, that's when it's going to go to inters. It's going to be inters practically all the way towards the end, much like in Zandvoort a couple of weekends ago in real life. So P6, P11, attack it on the softs, and then we go on to the intermediate tyres. That's the plan. So let's get to 5 red lights for what should be a very interesting Japanese Grand Prix.
We're all good to go here in Japan with 53 laps around the Suzuka circuit. As we get to this race, our focus shifts to Valtteri Bottas.
They sit in 17th, and let's be honest, no one wants to be at the back of the pack. But can they impress us here?
This should certainly be a good one, folks. The drivers are warmed up, they're ready to go here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and it looked very nice on the grid, didn't it? But straight away, Esteban Ocon, he's thinking, I'm going to have a little look at these guys here. We've told him to deploy off the line, and he's got Carlos Sainz off the start. Esteban Ocon maintaining P6. It's just go for it time now. Use the tyres, push on the fuel, push on everything, because you're going to be on these tyres for probably, what, a maximum of a couple of laps. So Esteban Ocon, 89% tyres. He's on some of the worst tyres at the start, but Pierre Gasly already making a move on Logan Sargent, and he's now having a look at the Williams of Alexander Albon. He's also got a Mercedes in front of him as well. So Gasly doing very well, as is Esteban Ocon. Decent start for us. Probably one of the best starts we've had this season. Whether this is the way to do it, look at the deploying on the ARS and just absolutely ragging the car for the first couple of laps, because we seem to lose positions in the first couple of laps normally. But Verstappen leads us away from Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll in P3, then comes Checo Perez, George Russell, Esteban Ocon in P6, and Esteban Ocon in P6, he's having a right look at George Russell, and now still using that ERS. Is he going to move to one side or the other to try and get past the British driver, using all the ERS he possibly can, but not managing to get past that Mercedes? But we think we're quicker than this Mercedes this weekend, it must be said. And if we get the crossover onto the wets bang on, that's going to be massive for us. Remember, really, we need Ocon to pull out as much of a gap on Gasly as he possibly can, because if he can do that, that means that the double stack won't be as much of a problem. So Verstappen leads coming onto lap 2. Rain has still not come down just yet. Pierre Gasly fighting with Lewis Hamilton, and Pierre Gasly gets past him. You can see the spots of rain there coming onto the circuit. We're now on lap 6, as Pierre Gasly's now got a run on the Williams as well of Alexander Albon, and Pierre Gasly is actually up into P8. He's overtaken Albon, as you can see on the right hand side. We are getting near that time for the intermediate tyres. Ocon's a little bit further on as well, but now it's getting to the time where we are thinking about pit stops, and we are thinking about maybe getting Ocon in this lap, and then we will bring Gasly in the lap after. But lap 7, decisions to be made. Pierre Gasly is absolutely flying at the moment. He's just managed to overtake Carlos Sainz, and he can see his teammate now in front of him. Pierre Gasly is on an absolute mission this afternoon, up into P7 now. This is the big call. Esteban Ocon has been told to pit. It's 0.89. It's not quite ready. But as we can see, Pierre Gasly's behind him. We don't want any funny business. So once Esteban Ocon gets around this corner, he's going to be into the pits now for intermediate tyres, as is Russell. Gasly's going to continue on, and that allows us not to go for the double stack. That's the idea. So Ocon's in. Let's have a look. Gasly is going to get a bit of this lap on the soft compound tyre, what he possibly wants to be on. But let's have a little look at Ocon. It's not a bad stop, 2.6 seconds. And who's that behind him? That is a Haas behind him. So Esteban Ocon is out now onto the intermediate tyres. He's just got to take it a little bit steady on these at the start. And I'm guessing everybody that's come in has come in for intermediate tyres. So that's fair enough. Pierre Gasly will be coming in this lap. As you can see, we're just going to make that little confirmation now. So Ocon out in P11, still behind George Russell. But Pierre Gasly is still motoring on these soft compound tyres. And I'm wondering if Pierre Gasly is actually going to jump his teammate here. Has Gasly got the preferential strategy? The rain's still not coming down hard enough to warrant intermediate tyres. Ocon's going to have to watch this on his outlap. The tyres are cold but not overheating, crucially, which is the main thing for us. If we have a look, we've got quite a big split now of cars, some on soft, some on intermediates. But I would suggest that Pierre Gasly has got the better strategy here, and as he comes in this lap, he is going to be on the optimal. He's had another lap on the soft compound tyres. Yes, there's a bit of rain, but let's just have a look as we run through this. We'll just speed it on a little bit. Verstappen's in now. We've been copying Verstappen quite a little bit in qualifying as well on when to go out, when not to go out, etc. And Gasly is in to the pit. So let's have a little look. Last lap, if we can get that. Oh, we can't while they're in the pit lane. We don't need any issues here. There's a little bit of a hold there for Verstappen, I would suggest. Let's have a look at Pierre Gasly. Intermediate tyres on. Doesn't look fantastic. 3.6 seconds. It was Perez with the pit stop issue. Gasly didn't get the best pit stop in the world, but he's now right up behind Fernando Alonso. as he has just changed to intermediate track. Where is Esteban Ocon? Ocon coming down the start-finish straight, and Pierre Gasly has jumped Esteban Ocon. Gasly out into P6, Ocon P7. It's 6th and 7th for the Alpines. We'll take that all day long. Lap 11, have we got anybody at the front yet to pit? No, everyone is now on intermediate tyres. Race neutralised, let's carry on. Virtual safety car on lap 12. I'm not too sure who's gone off. DRS is disabled, which I thought it would be anyway. It's Nick De Vries in the Alpha Tauri that's gone off. Let's have a little look at this. He had a Ferrari behind him, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Nick De Vries, really fortunate to walk away from that. Very difficult, as we can see at the back. That car's not in good shape. I don't imagine Nick De Vries is either. But Pierre Gasly was really catching Fernando Alonso. Whether it's just Gasly's a bit more adaptable in these conditions, I wouldn't suggest so. But Pierre Gasly doing a fantastic job. I don't know if we've had someone else spinning out as well. But Gasly in P6, we're looking at the top 5 here for Pierre this afternoon. We've had a little look at the strategy, whether it was best to swap to another set of intermediate tyres or just stay on these for the duration. It seemed to be the latter, to stay on these for the duration. So as things stand, we're only going to use this set of inters, and both guys have got a set of fresh stock compound tyres to go on to at the end. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. And we are back to green flag running on lap 13. 1 second is the gap between Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly. But Ocon doesn't look like he's had the best VSC restart. Esteban Ocon losing out to Carlos Sainz. Let's have a little look at this. It's a little bit disappointing for Esteban, but Carlos Sainz just got the better grip. And that was it. Job done for Carlos Sainz. Fair play to him. He's now up into P7. Ocon into P8. I was hoping Ocon was going to manage to hold up Carlos Sainz, but maybe not. So Gasly still chasing after Fernando. Verstappen leads from Lance Stroll in P2. Russell's in P3. Then comes Alonso, Gasly, Sainz, Ocon, Hamilton 3 seconds back from Esteban Ocon, and Alexander Albon scoring points for Williams again as it stands. We have another VSC, and this time let's have a look who it is. It's Lance Stroll. We were talking Lance Stroll up, and Lance Stroll looks like he's had an incident here. He was running in P2, and let's have a little look where he's done here. He's just got a little bit trigger happy on the throttle, and that is a VSC and a retirement for the Aston Martin, which puts us up into P5. Gasly's got Carlos Sainz behind him now. Alonso's absolutely checked out. Pierre Gasly is under pressure. Esteban Ocon is under pressure from Lewis Hamilton as well. So something to bear in mind there. We're just going to give both our guys the tactical assist if they need it. But at the moment, we're trying to push on the fuel. We've got a little bit too much fuel in the car, which we don't need.
Overtake is available. Copy.
And yeah, that's where we are at this moment in time. So we'll come back once again when we're back to green flag running. Lap 20, we are back again to green flag running. We've managed to pull out a gap to Carlos Sainz, which is quite nice. We got the tyres back up to temperature pretty well, and Pierre Gasly has checked out a little bit. 1.2 seconds is the gap to Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz is intermediates. Again, our car is very kind on its tyres, and this is a big benefit for us. Gasly is looking in a very decent position today. We're only 4.4 seconds back. We've had a decent safety car, virtual safety car restart there. So Fernando Alonso is not looking untouchable. Could we do the unthinkable and get a podium today? Max Verstappen looks like he's got it won, but 13 seconds back is George Russell, who's under immense pressure from Checo Perez as we ride on the helmet cam. We've not had this for a little while. Checo Perez is all over the back of the Mercedes of George Russell. You love to see it. Lap 21. Very interesting. On lap 26, DRS has just been enabled. The track conditions have just turned into dry. Looking at the track details, it is going to drop off a little bit. It's going to be on the borderline between softs and inters. We're expecting more rain. Our weather centre's not the best, so we're actually considering copying possibly what Red Bull do here. That's my idea with Gasly and Ocon at this moment in time. We're going to keep an eye on Verstappen. We're going to keep an eye on Russell and see what happens here. Let's just keep an eye. Max Verstappen has come around the final couple of corners. Is he going to pit? Is George Russell going to pit? Or is everyone going to stay on the inters? Most people staying on the inters. We are going to follow suit. And at this moment in time, we do have a tyre advantage on most of the field, especially the people that we're racing. Carlos Sainz, namely, 63%. That Ferrari isn't as kind on its tyres, hence why we are now 1.9 seconds ahead of the Ferrari. Ocon has pulled out a second to Hamilton as well, just at the right time when DRS has been enabled, and we want to stay out of the DRS of Lewis Hamilton. That's the idea at this moment in time. Lap 27. Hulkenberg has stopped on track, and we have got a red flag. Red flag, and the Haas has spun. It wasn't, I'm guessing that's not what's caused the red flag. Looking at it, they're obviously a little bit gutted in the Haas garage, especially this lady on the left. She's these two twins are not looking particularly happy. But yeah, red flag, which is very, very interesting. So now, do we stick with the intermediate tyres? That's the big thing at this moment in time. We'll come back when we get the restart. So here we go again then, folks. We are back on track, and I'm looking at a few cars around us here. We're on the intermediate tyres. We've got a few cars on mediums. We're the only cars on intermediates. That may have been an error. We're expecting rain, but we're the only cars on intermediate tyres. That seems a little bit dodgy, that, because we got the information that the track was still damp and we expected everyone to be on intermediate tyres. Maybe this is our weather centre costing us, but if that has, I'm going to be absolutely fuming, because anybody with that information would have gone for the intermediates. Now the information's changed, and I think we are going to lose out really, really badly here. Lap 30, I think we've got absolutely screwed. Esteban Ocon, making use of these intermediate tyres, has just managed to get past Checo Perez. Beautiful work from him, past Checo Perez. And Pierre Gasly, I don't imagine is going to be far behind him either. We are doing rain dances in the paddock because we feel that we have not been given the best chance here. We can talk about weather forecasts. We were expecting this to be much later, around here on the right-hand side, and now we're just having to push and push to try and get away. We're going to have to swap onto soft compound tyres at some point as well. Yeah, it's not ideal at this moment in time, so we're now hoping that we get a safety car, possibly another red flag, and to allow us to swap on to some more dry compound tyres. There has been an incident today. Let's hope there's a few more just yet. But Verstappen leads away from Russell in P2, Ocon P3, Perez and Gasly, Alonso P6, Sainz P7, Hamilton P8, 9 for Albon, and 10 for Magnussen. But my days, I don't think we deserve this. Now we're having to pay. We're going on to a fresh set of soft compound tyres for both cars. Both cars are going to be in this lap. We have made up a little bit of time, so there is a little bit of a silver lining to it. But Gasly is in to the pits as well. We need good pit stops here from the guys. It's a good pit stop for Esteban Ocon. Hopefully it's going to be a good pit stop for Pierre Gasly. Don't write us off of some decent points yet today as Ocon comes trundling down the pit lane. But we got that call wrong. Now, whether that's just the weather centre, we were expecting a good 15-20 more laps being on the inters, hence why we managed to pull out like a 7-second gap on Checo Perez. But as soon as we got back from the red flag, yeah, we got it wrong. We got it wrong, and there's been too much of that. And to get results in this game this year, we've got to be spot on this season, and we have not got this spot on today. Ocon now in P12 has got some work to do, as has Pierre Gasly. They can push on the tyres, they can push on the fuel, and there's not much else I can do now apart from say sorry. Lap 38. We've had a crash on circuit. It's come a little bit late for us, but it's Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. Let's have a little look. Lewis Hamilton just shoved off the track a little bit there.
Why?
Lewis Hamilton not happy. He does like a moan, as we know. That's not going to bring out a safety car or anything, but what it has meant, I'm assuming, Fernando Alonso, has he got any issues? He's not. That back left tyre looks okay. Where is Lewis Hamilton? Lewis Hamilton's dropped down to P15, so Esteban Ocon is on the charge, trying to catch Logan Sargent. He is on the fresh tyres, so there's still a good chance of this. He's just getting him into working temperature. Pierre Gasly now is on the back of Zhou Guanyu. He's got a lot more work to do, has Pierre Gasly. So yeah, 15 laps to go. Drama for Hamilton. Ocon's still well in this. And Gasly is starting to make moves. He's just overtaken Zhou Guanyu up into P16. Pierre Gasly gets past him beautifully. Fantastic into the final chicane. Gets the job done before we come onto the start-finish straight. And meanwhile, all this is happening. Esteban Ocon is catching Logan Sargent at a rate of knots. He's nearly on the back of the American driver now. So he's looking to take some points off Williams. Driver of the day at the moment is Alexander Albon. He's been absolutely fantastic today in P5. Verstappen still leading with 12 laps to go. Ocon still well in this. And he got on the back of the American, and now he's got past him. DRS up into P10. Great work from Esteban Ocon. We just sat on the pit wall, ruin what could have possibly been, and maybe we didn't analyse it enough, but it felt like the Inters were the right decision. But as soon as we went back onto the grid and we saw the medium compounder tyres, yeah, that was a very disappointing moment for us. But 3.8 seconds is the gap now from Ocon to Leclerc. Safety car would be absolutely brilliant for us here. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly is chasing down Lewis Hamilton, lap 42. And on lap 42, Esteban Ocon, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Lap 43, Pierre Gasly overtaking Lewis Hamilton down the inside. Beautiful work from Pierre Gasly. We are seeing some good overtakes. I think we got the pace to really score massive points today. And as you can see, we're just fast forwarding along a little bit. Ocon's nearly in striking distance of Hülkenberg. Tyres are starting to die off a little bit, but not as much as these mediums. We're still pushing on the fuel. Gasly's tyres, he is superb with monitoring his tyres, is Pierre Gasly, and he's now stuck behind these guys. Where's he going to make the move here? It looks like he's going to try and go down the left-hand side of these two cars, so it might be a 2-for-1 deal here. Tsunoda and Piastri to overtake. He keeps his nose in round the outside. Gasly looks like he's got it done on Yuki Tsunoda. Then he's got Oscar Piastri in front of him. Will he manage to make a move on the Australian driver? Gasly is driving with the red mist descending, I think. I imagine both our cars are not particularly happy with the strategy today, but he's really now on the back of Oscar Piastri and making moves. Could he possibly get towards the points, Pierre Gasly? We're going to tell him to deploy and get past Oscar Piastri. Is he going to manage to do it here? It doesn't look like it, but I don't imagine it'll be long. And it wasn't long at all. Down the next start finish straight. Pierre Gasly up into P12. Fantastic from him. And he's now using that ERS to try and catch the cars in front. And the cars in front is Lando Norris, 2.4 seconds. Then he's got a 6-second gap to Logan Sargent. So a lot of work still for Gasly to do. Meanwhile, Ocon right on the back of Nico Hülkenberg now. And if he can get past Nico Hülkenberg, I would fancy him to start causing some chaos for these guys in front as well. So Esteban Ocon, we're going to ride on board with Esteban Ocon. In past 130R, he can see two Ferraris and a Williams in front of him. And he has got the best tyres out of the top 10. So let's have a little look down this next start finish straight. This could really turn the afternoon around for us. It's not the best. We're not the best out of the low speed corners, but my God, when we go on the straight, that Haas can't deal with us, and we are past him. No problem at all for Esteban Ocon up into P9. And these P8, P7 and P6 all in front of us, and Magnussen's not that far off either. Do not write Ocon off as scoring really good points today. Pierre Gasly has done everything he possibly can to catch up with Lando Norris. He's closed that gap within a couple of laps, and he's now in the DRS range of the British driver. And Esteban Ocon is absolutely driving the wheels off this Alpine. And look at this. He jumps down the inside of Alexander Albon. Have a bit of that sunshine. Now he's got the Ferrari in front of him. Do not write Ocon off for what? P6 could be on the cards here. Well, this could be one of the best recovery drives you've seen. And look at Esteban Ocon go here, looking at the back of Charles Leclerc, and I reckon he's going to be fancying Magnussen, possibly even Sainz here. Let's have a little look what he does here. I'm going to tell him he's got the ERS to use here, because I think if we can get in front of Magnussen, we can catch Carlos Sainz. We could be back up into P5 here. Let's have a little look as we come out of that slow corner. It's not as best as we know. Gasly's not going to get some points today, I want to imagine, but let's have a look as Ocon looking to the left, looking to the right. Will he have anything in the tank here to get past these cars? Let's have a little look as he gets the ERS down. We're running out of battery a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned about that. We're going to go back to neutral, but at this moment, Ocon in hot pursuit. Lap 50, Esteban Ocon has got past Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen's been the one that's been holding us up, and he has let the Ferrari get away. So he's up into P7 now, Esteban Ocon. Great work from him. And meanwhile, look at Pierre Gasly on the back of Lando Norris, but he just can't seem to get past him at this moment in time. He's ducking left and right trying to get the move done. As we can see, the tyres, we've still got the better tyres out of these front-running cars. But Pierre Gasly just cannot seem to get past the McLaren of Lando Norris. At the front, George Russell was overtaken, been overtaken by Checo Perez, which is good news for Red Bull. It's a 1-2 for them again. Ocon possibly just dropped out of DRS range of Leclerc, and that's going to cost him a little bit as the tyres start to die down. But Gasly is in hot pursuit of Norris, and he's actually looking like he's going to go for a move here. Let's just ride on board again. Gasly can't quite do it. Lando Norris blocking him off. 3 laps to go. He's finally got it done. Pierre Gasly past Lando Norris. Beautiful work from him. Into P12, great work from him. Later on the brakes, round the outside, and he's got the job done. Great work from him. We're now coming on to, well, we're on lap 52, only 1 more lap to go. Ocon's been told to use his ERS just in case. Pierre Gasly has dropped Norris by some distance as well. After getting past him, he's really been held up by Lando Norris, but Ocon is going to score good points once again in P7. It just frustrates us that it could have been so much more. But 1 more lap to go. Last lap of the Grand Prix, and we've got a chase on. Esteban Ocon is nearly in the DRS range of this Ferrari. If it could have gone on a couple of laps more, I think we may have got them. But Pierre Gasly is in hot pursuit of Logan Sargent. He could get P11 here, could Pierre Gasly, and it's going to be a real fight to the finish for him. But we're trying to keep an eye on both battles. Ocon's not quite going to do it. Verstappen's that far in front. He's just crossed the line. Perez will come across P2. Perez will come across in P2. But Ocon is giving it absolutely everything down this last straight through 130R. Can he manage to make a last-minute dive? He's way too far back, unfortunately. But Pierre Gasly now, as we ride on board the helmet cam, he's going to do everything he possibly can to get past this Williams of Logan Sargent. It's a drag race down to the final chicane. As we go back to the TV camera, what can Pierre Gasly do here? He's got the inside line for the chicane. I imagine he's going to squeeze him a little bit. Experience may pay. They nearly touch, and now it's a drag race to the line. Pierre Gasly's out of ERS. The Williams got the longer way around though, and Pierre Gasly has got P11. So 7th for Ocon, 11th for Gasly. Oh, if we'd have just got that strategy call right.
You know, I don't think many would have expected to see them finishing outside the top 10. They'll be aiming much higher than that, I assure you.
Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
Another win this year, and you know what? I wonder if they've lost count by now.
I wonder if they have lost count by now, but Max Verstappen once again winning the Grand Prix. Perez P2, Russell P3. We could have been in that. We could have been in the top 5 today, no question. Sainz P5, Leclerc gained 14 places to P6, Ocon P7, Albon P8, Magnussen P9, Hülkenberg P10. Fantastic double points for Haas. And Gasly finishes with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in P11. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen extends his lead at the top once again from his teammate Checo Perez. It's now 105 points the gap. Charles Leclerc in P3, Sainz P4. Ocon scores 6 more points and Gasly in P10. Constructor standings wise, Red Bull are now 152 points in front of Ferrari. It looks like it's job done. Ferrari in P2, Aston Martin in P3. We continue to just keep his nose in front in P5. It's been a disappointing weekend. That one thing that I must say, I'm totally impressed with both our drivers. It gives me a lot of confidence with our driver lineup going into next season. We're going to have to start getting these strategy calls a bit better, a bit more correct at times. We are getting there. We're working on it. We're working on the car. I'm optimistic. It's been decent points this week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!